Hey guys, hello. I hope so. Everyone is doing fine. Right now, the plan is basically to explore advanced Node.js. We'll try to learn few new stuff and and let's see how far we can actually reach. We'll try to learn a lot of new stuff. Actually, I want to see like is my stream live or not? Oh, come on, why is this? Why is this stupid? Why is this thumbnail is there, man? I don't want the thumbnail like this. Can I just hold on for a second, okay? I don't know. There's a stupid thumbnail for some reason in my YouTube channel in the video. I don't know why. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, great. So let's actually something stuck. Okay, let's actually start and let's actually try to learn few new Node.js stuff. Right now, we'll be trying to go through the Node.js documentation, uh, the new the new Node.js version, which is version 19.7.0. We'll be trying to explore some of the features from this particular list of all the stuff, and let's see how far we can actually go and learn stuff. I would like to start with OS because that's cool, right? Let's see how many functions could we explore and what actually can we learn. This okay, what we can learn, right? So hold on, let me see how many. Yeah. Okay, so right now, first let's create a project, right? So let's create a project called advanced node. So, right. So let's actually initiate a project, right? And let's call it, and let's open this in Visual Studio Code and let's actually start, create a new file. Let's call it index.mjs. MJS is basically a new extension by Node.js, which basically enables you to write ES6, but directly in Node.js. You don't need to do anything else, which is kind of cool. And okay, by the way, this is not even required. Even if you give JS right now, and you just go here and you just specify the type to be as a module, that's going to work. Hold on, why is it angry at me? It's angry because I forgot a comma. There you go, guys. That's how it is. Now let's actually give a dev script. Let's actually provide a scripts to this and a dev script, which will be nodemon uh, index.js. So that I'm just doing this so that I don't have to restart the server every time I just want to do something. So yeah, let's add this. Right. Let's add nodemon and let's actually run this thing. Yeah, pretty cool. So we have this running. Let's actually close this here and let's do it in the console itself here. Let's call it npm run. Right. Yeah. So uh, I'm not sure which module should I start with. Let's start with the OS module. Let's see what do we got here. Right. I could start with let's start with something interesting. Let's start with maybe process module. I think that sounds cool. Right. So process module is like, as you know, Node.js is mostly single threaded, right? And Node.js could handle things. Of course, there is the event loop, which still being on single thread, Node.js could perform so well. But this process basically helps you to determine, and I think, yeah, all the process related stuffs. But let's actually go for it. Let's see what do we got. So let's start with uh, okay, we have got process, and the first function which it got is before exit. Okay, so this is basically called before the program is exit, which is kind of cool. On okay, so if you have a Node.js program and you want to trigger an event before exit, which is kind of cool, then this works. So and wait, what is code? I think this is the status code, like what kind of status code which you want here. Uh, so this is like we can say code over here. And let's actually try to log this code and see what do we got. So it's zero. So there's two status code. It's zero if there is nothing wrong, and it's one if there is something wrong in the while your program exit. Okay, this is before exit and this is after exit. Okay, so the status is zero before exit, and if I just say process dot on exit, on exit, what is the code do we what code do we get? It's actually C, right? We get zero on both of them because we do not have an error. But okay, but what if we just say let a is equal to 1 divided by 0, and if we save this, what happens? There's no error, man. There should be an error. Wait, log a. It comes infinity. It doesn't come 0, which is insane. So there's no divide by 0 error in Node.js. Are you serious? Are you kidding me? Hold on, man. This cannot be true. There is no divide by 0. So if I just say 1 divide by 0, that comes up to infinity. That's insane, man. 1 divided by 0. Oh, wait. No, this is correct. And 0 divided by 1 is 0. Whoa. Node.js is amazing. Node.js is amazing. In Node.js, if you divide 1 by 0, it's not an divide by 0 error. It's actually infinity, which makes sense, right? In maths, like if you go for calculus and other sections like that, you kind of actually get this. You actually get this 1 divided by 0 is infinity, indeed. Right. Then you have before exit, right? And then okay, the message is displayed first. The reason simply because this only runs when the process exists, right? So for example, right, if we just import readline from readline, and now we'll be exploring readline as well, right? And if we just for example, right, so if we say readline dot uh, dot, I think you just, what do you do? Readline dot mm, const readline, whatever, const read is equal to readline. What do you do this? Or like, how do you use readline? I'm not sure. Let's actually try to explore readline. Let's see how does that work. So readline Node.js. Right. So because I want a process which I can halt the process so that I can see like before exit and exit how these both of them works, which will be cool. So this is how actually the readline works. So if we just say import readline from node readline, yep. And then what you can see is, okay, so you actually need to create an interface, and through the same process, you need to actually pass input and output. So stdin and std, which is insane. Okay. So you just do stdin as input and std out as output. Wait, yeah, node process. Wait, I don't need that. I can directly say const, which readline is equal to readline dot create interface, right? And then you pass the input and output as an option. But where is this? Like, is this a global object, input and output? Is that a global object? I'm not sure. Let's try to use this. Like, can we do this? If we just say rl dot uh, what question, and we say what is your name, and we can get the answer over here. Whatever just forgive me for the spelling of answer. I mean, let's correct it if we can. Okay. So this is cool. So input is not defined. That's the thing, right? That's what I was thinking. How is this input and output is coming, right? So we need to define this input. So this input is actually process dot input. I think, yeah. Hmm. No, process.stdin, which is if you don't know what is std.in, std.in is basically standard in is basically like whatever you take in, right? What is like for this is used for taking in input, and output is like used for giving out the output on the console, which is std out, right? And now I think this would be working. So if I just give J as my name, you can see J appearing 3 times, and I have no answer. Why is that the case? Oh, wait. What do you mean? The status code became. Uh, is it? Oh, hold on. This does not make sense. This does not make sense. If you guys know this makes sense or not, just let me know. Okay. Hold on. I'm not sure. If I just go to before exit, right? And if I just do this, wait, I don't need this. Why is it a? I just want to exit and then I'll just do code. Right. So if I just write Rohit as name, you can see 3 times Rohit. Why is this running 3 times? That's the question. Okay, the reason is we did not call rl.close. Is that the case? Okay. Ah, insane. Why is it dot? It should be a comma. So if we just okay, okay. So now what do we do is what if let's say we just go for the question again, run this again. If we just say node index.js, we don't even get anything. Yeah, of course. How will we get, like, this is closed, right? So this, okay, this is an await. So let's close it inside this after like uh doing that. If I say j, I've got a single output. So I closed it. Uh, yeah. So the exit code is 0. What if I is this process dot exit, is that a thing? There, that is a thing. And if I just say 1, will that give a process dot exit code 1? Yeah, that does give, and that does detect like there was an error in this command. So that does give me the status. So before exit and exit basically is like exactly what it says. It is like uh, it is like the process. Uh, yeah, that that works. Okay, so exit and before exit, I think that works. Try closing in the fallback callback. Try closing in the callback. Oh, this one here. Yeah, that makes sense. Uh, okay. So after this, do we have anything else? Let's see. So I think readline works. Readline works as expected with STD, with standard in, standard out, and before exit and exit works. Let's see what else do we got in the node documentation. We have a closed event. So closed event is emitted on the following case, which is like, oh, it is the readline event. We don't care about this one. We just care about the process events right now. So then there's a disconnected. So okay. So this disconnect, like if you know, right, so there is like child processes in Node.js. So if you got child processes, then if the process get disconnected from the main process, I think then this event is called. But we'll have to see exactly how that works. This is cool. Okay, so okay, this is cool. This is cool. Okay, I have a question. I have a question. Okay, so if this console log works after the program exit, how is this running? Because now the program is no longer alive, right? Ah, But okay, now this, okay, the same thread, but if we just start something on a new thread, that should not emit. So that's what this means. So like set timeout. Uh, Listener must only perform synchronous operations. That's what I was saying, right? So if there's any asynchronous operation, that would not work over in the exit process because the program has already been exited. Exit, like the program is already over. Now let's call this one. This is cool. So it says multiple resolves because of the unavailability of the event in the case of, okay, wait, it is deprecated, so we'll not see this one. Rejected handler. Okay, this doesn't see. This is interesting. So, for example, let's say, right, let's try this one, right? This is going to be cool. So, if I just say process dot on uncaught exception, right, and if we just take the error and the origin as say as as described over here, right? So this is the right operation here. So this is like I think this uncaught exception is basically called when ever there is a error thrown throughout the throughout the program, right? And yeah, okay, okay, this is cool. So see, this what it has done over here is quite cool. So if there is any error thrown throughout your node application, you can basically create a node like a bug report for that, and that whole bug report could be written into a file. This is cool. Let's try it out. This is, I think, very useful as well. So let's say, I also want to log that error. What was the error? And I want to like write that into a file. Or like for now, let's log it. For now, let's log it. Writing that into a file, we'll be thinking about that later on. So okay. So let's say if we just like, for example, like if we just call a test function which doesn't exist there, as the example given over here, right? That should throw an error, right? Because the test function doesn't exist, and that should give us the error over here. So if I just run that, we do get a reference error that test is not defined, and I'm not sure it is from this place or not. So let's actually try to. This is logged by me. If I just say this, right, what will happen? This is logged by me. That's insane. So we're actually getting the error, like error throughout the application. So this could have a very genuine use case. Like you could actually have entire logging system built out of this. So for example, let's say if just we import fs from fs slash promises. I don't know. Do I want to do promises? No, I don't want to do promises right now. Okay, so for example, like let's say if we just try the fh.write file, and if we just generate a random number, so anything like math dot parse math dot or parsent or something like that. So let's actually say test file, something like that, and right, and then you basically give an content which is error dot message, and then you just give a callback which has an error, right? And if we just then okay, so this test file is there. So let's say, if we just want to log this to a file, how will we do that? That's the question, right? So if there is an error, we can say can log like this. We say there was an error, right? And okay, uh, and if it's successful, let's call it that was successful, something like that, right? Yeah. So we have it here, and we just, yeah. So this should work. So let's say if just we try to run this application again, right? Uh, right. So if we just try to run this application again, we do get a missing. Okay, this is syntax. I think this is yeah. So this was successful. Let's see what does it. There's a test file, and test is not defined. That's so cool. we have created our own error handler like throughout the application. So let's say if you got a node application and you want to, at one single place, you want to listen for all the errors and you want to report to a server, or you want to do anything like that, you can do it through this particular thing which is called uncaught exception, which is kind of cool. We learned something new today, which is uncaught exception. Okay, so that's cool. So we uh, what else did we got? What is my monitoring tool dot log sync? I don't have a monitoring tool. So that's what I was saying. Okay. Intentionally cause an exception but don't catch it. Okay. So unhandled exception, uncaught exception. What's the difference between uncaught exception, uncaught exception monitor and uncaught exception? What's the core difference? Uh, I see the same thing, man. Okay, let's try to do this same uncaught exception monitor. And what do I got? I got error, and I get an origin as well, which is kind of cool. So this is even better than what we had before. We had an origin here as well. That's what is the origin, by the way? Do I get the like from where actually the log was at a which place and stuff like that? No, error is not defined. Where is error is not defined? What do you mean? What do you mean error is not defined? So this error is not defined, but it is defined. This is, oh, this is good. So, sorry. This, we do not need this. Unhandled exception. This was successful. Unhandled rejection. Okay. Okay. Let's see the monitor one. Okay. So we know the exception one. Let's see the monitor one. Like, what difference does it make? So, dot on, like, monitor. What was that? Yeah, this one. So error and origin. So let's log this error and log the origin as well. So, and let's call it this as an error, and let's call this as an origin. Right. Test is not defined. Okay. So error is reference error, test is not defined, and then we get location stuff like that. And origin is unhandled rejection. The file at this file line number 15 is issue with test. Amazing. So this is amazing if you want to actually log errors or monitor errors throughout your node application. We can create a custom tool out of this. This could be even like we can create an npm package which could help us to do stuff like this. And this would be awesome. We could build something around this. uh okay. Hmm. So what is unhandled rejection? I don't know. Unhandled rejection promises that is rejected and no longer this is promise rejection. Okay. So if you know, right, so we have promises, right? So like for example, like if I just say test one is equal to new promise, right? If I just create a promise and then you got resolve and reject, right? And for example, I just reject something, right? I reject saying this was not good, right? So this is the promise. Promise is basically like a process, asynchronous process, right? So I just reject this one, right? I'm rejecting this, that this was not good. So I think this is when you do like unhandled rejection. You get a rejection in the promise. So for example, like let's say if I execute this one, right? Then I think if I declare this on process, so process dot on unhandled rejection, right? I'm actually gonna get again the reason why it was rejected and the promise as well. So region and promise both, which is cool, right? So if I log reason, right? Reason is going to be the same thing which I like. This was not good. Is this was not good will be the reason, and the promise will be like which promise was actually rejected. So if I just log like say promise, and if I just say promise, I'll get the both of them. Let's hope. See. So yeah. Test one is not okay. Now we do not need this one. So yeah, both of them is actually good. Hold on. What do you mean? This is not what we want. Okay, stop it. Yeah. So stop it. So yeah, let's try to run it. So reason is you can see this was not good and this is the promise which was rejected, which is this was not good, which is amazing, right? So this is also like again, if you actually want to build a logger or any like auto error detector or something like that for Node.js applications, this could be used quite well. Then you have a close, which is occurred if you, oh, this is again the wrong place. Okay, this one is what we want. And then you have, okay, this is how you test it, which we already done. And then you have the warning. Okay, so warning is like basically whenever you console.warn is 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 there. So warning is something which is very self-explanatory. Console.on warning console.warn, do not do that. Okay. Okay, so this is cool. This is something which is very good. So uh, basically, let's say, if you create a new worker, now if you don't know what worker is, like in a new node worker, basically node worker is some like a separate, if you want to do a thing in a separate thread in a Node.js application, right? So as you know, Node.js is a single threaded application. You want to do it something in a single thread, right? A different thread. So this worker could actually notify you that a new thread has been created and like yeah, that's all what this is. So I'll definitely show you, like let's say start new worker process in Node.js. I definitely don't remember the exact steps, but I think this is the same page which I'm working with. No, this is worker thread, right? So this is like how you basically create a worker thread. I think this is a worker thread, right? So if a new worker thread is created, so let's actually try this as well. Let's try to create a new worker thread and let's try to detect it using what we have over here, which is worker event. Right? So let's do this. So if we import the worker thread from node worker threads, right? And then what it does is, see, it brings worker is main thread, then parent, something like that. I want, like, how do you start a new worker thread? Uh, is there anything called create? Uh, how do you create a new thread? I mean, oh, this is how you do it. So you basically have something called worker inside this, and you just have this, and then what you can do is you can just create a new worker over here directly. So you can say like const something like new worker, right? And you can say new worker thread, right? And then okay, why, okay, this doesn't make, why, what is file name in this? Okay, the name of the file, what does it take, man? Okay, and what can I do on the worker thread? I can emit an event. Okay, but oh, I have a message. So new worker dot, if I receive a message, okay, not post a message. If I like if I receive a message, right, there will be some message from some other thread, like let's say parent thread, right, which will try to send a message from the main thread. We'll try to do that. So you do get a message, and let's log that message in, right? So and we'll try to detect this creation of this worker through the parent one. So uh, hey, hi. Hi, bro. Hi. Hello. Hi. Yeah. So we'll try to detect this creation of new worker, right? And we'll try to send it a message through the main thread, and then we'll try to detect it using the function over here, which is worker event. So yeah. So worker. So okay. So you get a worker, and you can even post messages. But what is parent? Okay, parent port. Parent port is like the parent, the main thread, right? And then what we can do is we can just say, okay, the same thing once message, but I'm gonna send message. Wait, hold. How will I send a message? That's a question. Okay. So this is basically when you detect a message, but Uh, okay, so if this is main thread, right? I forgot. Oh, I just logged message. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, true. Okay, so I got message. Now to send a message to this new worker which I created. That's the challenge which we have. Yeah. So let's see how can we send a message to this new worker thread, and then we'll be detecting its creation through the through the worker which we have detected over here. So parent port. Got a period. Okay, so what we do is we just detect, first of all, what it did is, like, let's see this program quite, let's try to understand this program first and then we'll be coding it. Okay, so it first, like, this is a Boolean expression which detects it is a main thread, right? And if it is a main thread, it okay. So then it creates a new worker in that, and it receives a message, then it logs, and then it posts a message which is hello world. Otherwise, it, oh man, oh man, this is interesting. This is interesting. Okay, so both are happening in the same program, so it is little bit confusing. So right, so but still, like, if we just, if we just say, like, is it the main thread, right? So it's the main thread, right? Let's say, so this is the main thread. So in the main thread, we'll be creating the worker. So the worker creation will be in the main thread, right? That makes sense, right? And okay. And inside this, the new worker which we have created, if we receive a message, we'll be logging it, right? That makes sense. Till here, everything makes sense. But, and this is the, and in the else part, this is the worker thread. This is the new thread which we created, right? So in the worker thread, what we can do is uh, we can just, so we just get the parent port, which is the parent thread. We send a message to the, okay, why are we receiving it? Wait, hold on. In the worker thread, when a message from the parent thread is received, send it back. Yeah. Well, let's do it. I think this will make more sense once we complete this thing. So, hello, brother. Hello, Hansraj. What's up? Yeah. So, message, if you just take the message, right? And if you do message over here as well, and if you just try to log the message in over here. Oh, no, it was not logging. It was actually sending it back to the parent port, which is insane. I don't know. I clearly did not understood this well so right now, but I think if I'll eventually this will make sense. Okay. So, and then it simply, okay, this okay, let's actually do it, and then this will make sense, I think. Send worker dot post message, and if this makes sense for to this whole logic of main and worker thread makes sense to you, please just tell me. Okay. So we'll post a message over here, which is hello world, and let's actually try to run this. See what do we got. Okay, let's actually, first of all, let's remove this one for now, and let's remove this one as well. Let's remove all these for now. We do not need any of these right now. Okay. So file name is not defined. ES module scope. I think we do not need a file name over here. Okay, we have something else. It says file name argument must be. What do you mean by file name argument? Uh, okay, so I don't see. Okay, here's the file name. It, nothing, man. I don't get a file name in this. That's the issue. Uh, like, what do you mean by file name? Is it like the this? It does not work. I know it works. I know it works. The issue is over here is the type is module, right? So in MJS, the like these global variables doesn't work. This is very weird. I get it. Like this is yeah, it doesn't work. I'll prove it to you. See, if I just log this dir name, right? You know this dir name is always available, right? Right? You will see this. This is not available right now. because see, okay, wait, I'll just comment this out. Wait for now. See, as you can see, the error is like dir name is not defined in ES module. The file is being treated as ES module because it has the .js extension, right? Uh, okay, it says if I just rename the file to CJS, which is common JS, this would not be an issue. Yes, that's the issue. Okay, I don't want this. Okay, cannot find module index.js. It's CJS, man. Okay, okay. So I want the JS, but I don't know how to get this in the ES module. So file name ES module. Okay. Okay, that's what we want. So using dir name and file name in ES modules. So the problem is, okay, so that's the exact problem which we are facing, which is dir name and file name is not present. So what it does is, for file name, file URL to path, that's what we need. That's what we have to do. So let's close this right now. Let's uncomment this uh, and let's actually try to. Oh, CJS is for common JS. Like, there's two kinds of. So there's module-based JavaScript and there's like a common JavaScript. So I actually do not know the exact differences, but if you are running it on a VM, that's a module-based. And I think common if you are not running it on a VM. Like usually the JavaScript is run on V8, right? So I think that's the core difference. But I'm not sure on this. Import from URL, right? So if I just get it to URL, hold on, just for a second. Okay, so if we just use this trick to convert this, it is gonna be cool. So file URL path, right, and then this file name would be equal to file URL to path, and then we can say import dot meta dot URL, right? And then we can pass this file name to this the new thread which we have created. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Now this should work. I mean, there's no issue now. Come on. Uh, it worked. It worked. It worked. We got hello.js in the new thread. But let's try to understand this and let's try to unpack this. Okay. So this is the main thread. Now this is the main thread, right? In the main thread, we created the new worker, which completely makes sense because we want to create the worker in the main thread. Now, whatever will be happening inside this, right, is inside this parent, is like inside this else block, right? So inside the new worker, if we receive a message, we log it, right? And new worker dot post. Okay, 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 okay. Just I'll have to open a whiteboard for this, for like for actually making sense of this. So how this is working is basically now I actually understand this. I think so. I understand this. So let's say if this is our main process, right? So this is our main process, and this is the new worker which we have, right? So first, what happened is first, uh, like we created this thing. We created this thing. So we created a new worker, right? And uh, through the new worker, we send a message to this. So that is like here. That's what we receive over here. So when we say parent dot once message, this is the message which we actually send over here, right? This place, if that makes sense, right? So this is the place where we actually send the message, and then we just uh, we just send it back to the parent port, right? But why is it then parent port dot once? So parent, this is not a parent port. Then this is the worker port where we receive the message, right? So yeah, let's actually figure this out by saying this is 1, this is 1, this is 2, this place is uh, this place is 3, let's call it 3. So we'll see from where the message went where. Uh, wait, unexpected token. Okay, we just okay. So first it went where, and then we posted into this new worker. Then we got to the 3 point because this message was posted at this particular place. So that's what I was saying. See, this is not the parent, like this is parent port is basically whichever is the current port on which you are currently, whichever is the current worker on which you are. So for our case, this parent port is basically the new workers thing, right? So in the new, if in this new worker you receive this message, right, then you just send it back to the parent, and you receive it in the parent, and you just log it. That's how it works, which is cool. Which is cool. We learned something new. Here is parent port where it's sending. Here is parent port where it is. Wait, hold on. Here in parent port where it's sending. In the parent, this is not the parent port. That's the thing, right? Its name is parent port. Parent port is basically when you're inside the port, you refer the yourself as parent port, right? So you are yourself the parent port over here, right? If that makes sense. Line number 13, okay. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, if that makes sense, if everybody is with me on this, we'll move forward. Let's actually try to do some experiment to this, right? Let's try to, what if we create more than one port, right? So if we just send some more messages, right? So if we just say, okay, whenever we receive a message, we'll log it over here, right? And let's actually try to post more messages. So we say new worker dot post message, and this is another message, right? No, that is not the case. Okay, so this is not the case. Okay. Okay, let's try to figure it out again. So if we okay, so let's actually try to send some more messages and let's see what happens. So this is another message which we send, right? And so now again, what will happen? Let's see. So we got the message, but okay, this is once. That's the reason. Okay, so I want to say on message, not once. On message, and again here also I want to say on instead of once, so that I could like okay. So I get a message and I get a message. Oh, why am I logging message, ma'am? Why am I logging message? Okay, let's try again. Try this again. Uh, okay, we this is interesting. Okay. So we again, I think yes, this is the thing, right? So we post one message, right, which is hello world, and then we post another message, right? So till here, like this is all happening in the main thread, and this is in the else block. So this goes in the else block, which is like not the main thread. This is like the new worker thread which we created. For the worker, parent port is defined because it's not in the main thread. Yes, yes. Ah, okay, exactly. So this is for the parent. Uh, so in the parent port, we have the message, the new message, and then we post it back to the same message. Okay, hold on, hold on. This as we'll have to figure this out like more clearly. Okay, so first of all, let's say here, right? Created. We created new over here, right? And then we just received a message on the new uh, on new worker, okay, and this is all the post calls, right? So let's say all the post calls, right? uh, and then we just we just say, so this is on which thread. This is not the main thread, right? So because this is not the main thread, right? So okay, and let's now let's try this. Okay, so first it created the new thread because it was running on the main port. Then all the post call created, so which is like all the post call created. Then oh, we don't. Okay, received a message not on the main thread. It should be from worker, not on worker. Okay. Oh, huh. From the new worker. No, it is not received. Okay, on message. So so if you receive a message on the new, it will be from parent, right? So let's say call it received from parent, right? So because you are receiving it on this, right? So the message event is on this. So this is from the parent, and this is the parent from. So this will be received from the worker. Uh, so received from the worker over here, right? Yeah, and it will not the main thread, right? So if we just figure it out, created the port, then all the post call created, then we basically receive a message which is the hello world message uh, in the parent, uh, okay, which is over here, which is received from the parent. uh, oh wait, why first of all this logs would be in the top because that's why it becomes confusing. Yeah, let's try this again. So created a new worker, all the post call created, and then naming convention. That's weird. Okay. Uh, let's try to understand this again. uh, oh, we have okay with us, which is cool. Uh, let's actually try to. Okay. Receive from the parent, then you. Let's see some better documentation. We might figure it out. Node.js multiple threads. So, uh, yeah. Okay, we'll figure this out. But first, let's try this. Is the worker event working, right? We'll do this definitely. But let's see, does the worker event actually works? So if we just say process.on worker event, right? What do we got? Get as a callback. So on the worker event, we do get uh, new worker created, which is event, right? Okay. So okay, this is the event. I think this is the new worker created. So yeah, it works exactly like we think. This is okay, but now we have to figure out this one. Okay. Yeah, it's uh, let's see. Uh, okay, so I have a question. We are no, I think this that's how it is working, because you see, this is the new worker, right? So I'll just figure, like, this is the worker, and we are triggering the event on message on this new worker, right? So if this worker receives a message, in the only there is only one place from which the worker could receive this message, which is from the parent, right? So this is received from the parent, and that's why I've written from the parent. So how does this not make sense, right? Yeah, of course. Yeah, the multiple threads are working on the same file, of course. Yes, because this this message event is on the new thread. It is not on the parent, right? And the in the parent, what you are registering, right, which is this message event, but it is not in the main thread. So so in the parent, if you receive a message, yes, actually, yes, 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 yes. Okay. Let's actually do a little bit more R&D. We'll not leave it unless we make it. Uh, okay. So worker creation. Okay. Let's remove this program for right now. So so how this works? Let's actually try to make sense of this from beginning, right? So right now, so if we just say the main thread, right? So this will be true by default initially, right? This will be true. So let's say if we just create a new thread, right? So which will be like, let's say, n thread, right? So and if we just say the is equal to new worker, right? And we take file name, we log this thing up, which is n thread. So we do not need will need to log this thing up. So this will go in the else case, because this will create a new thread of this entire file, right? And there will be a new instance of this file, so which will be going to the else part. So this is inside the worker thread. Till here this makes sense. Like, let's dissect this one by one, right? Wait, where am I logging stuff? I don't want to log this stuff. Okay. So this is inside the worker thread. So and if we just take this is the main thread. Yeah. So this is the main thread, and this is the worker thread. This runs first. This makes sense. So now if we just register an event inside the like this worker thread, which is n thread dot on message. If we just say, and we say like we have a message, right, and we just log it. So this simply means that there is a new message received on the worker, right? This means and we receive a new message on the worker, right? Now, the question which we have to answer is, where are we actually going to send this message from? Makes sense, right? Okay. So now this is not the main thread, but if we just take the main port, which is, I think, which gives us access to the main thread in the worker thread, I think so. So if we just take the main parent port, which is right, and if we send a message, right? So can we send a message from this? I don't know. No, we cannot. Wait. Yeah, post message, right? And if we say hello, this message, okay. What happens if we do this? We receive this message. That's what I was saying. This is from inside the worker thread. From Oh, this is insane. From inside the worker, we send a message through the parent to the worker itself. And this could be two different files. This could completely be two different files. I think, if we'll create a new file, this will be much more easier. So if we just say worker.js, right? And if we just instead of this, right, instead of in the new worker, if we just say worker .js, which is the new file which which we'll have over here, right? Worker, wait, where's the file? Here's the file, right? So if I just say log inside worker JS file, right? And if we just remove all these, now there's no else part because this is all main thread. There's no checking of main thread because of course let's do it like this. So this is all happening in the main thread. So we don't need this file name or anything like now. Let's see. Okay, there's an error still. Oh, dot slash, yes. Does that work? Yeah, this works. This will make things very clear, right? There's no else part. So now the problem is, let's not send a message like this. Let's not do it. Let's not do it. Let's send it through the parent itself, right? Let's send it through the parent itself, and let's try to receive it here, right? So if we just take this thread and like for this, what is the parent thread? That's the question, right? So if we just take the parent port, sorry, from process worker thread, right? Process. What happened, man? No hints. No hints. Okay. Uh, okay. So now the main thread will never be here, so this will never be true. So if we just check this, like for just checking, right? Let's log this, right? This can never be true, right? Let's make sure this is never true. This is never true because you are on the worker thread, right? So um, that's what I was saying, right? So if we just go to the parent port and send a message to ourselves, right? This we sending message to the same worker inside the worker, like that, right? So if you just send a wait, no, if we just go to the parent worker, right, and we say post message, right, and if we say test something like that, right, and now wait. Uh, so if we just take the parent port and we say on message, right, and here we have the message, right, and uh, right, and let's send it from the worker. So like, so if I just say end thread dot post message, right, this is the message, this is the message from the worker. Okay, so I should receive this over here, like if my consultation is correct. Like for now we can leave this empty, like we don't we'll go inside the worker, that like let's leave that empty for a while. So if that's true, right? Oh wait, cannot be null. What do you mean by cannot be null? Cannot read properties of null reading on. Oh, parent port is null. Okay, parent port cannot be on the main thread. Okay. Hmm. Okay, yes, now this makes sense. Parent port is like the okay. This makes sense. Now this makes sense. Yes, yes. Parent port is like the current worker port. So we can say on, and if we just receive a message, we can say anything like if this is a message, right? So log message, right? So uh this is the current message, and if you have to send it, how will you send it? We can send it in the worker. Now this will be logged in there. It makes sense, right? Parent port. Wait. Finally, yes. The name is confusing. See, parent port. The parent port shouldn't be named parent port. It is like this, right? This like which is like the global scope, like that. Oh man, finally. Yes, success. Success. This is cool. This was cool. Yes. So, like if I could, if I could summarize, parent port is like, parent port is like, parent port is like we are referring to the current port. So parent port is the worker port in this case. So yes.
And through this instance of worker, we could send. Uh, yes, it is. So, and then using this instant and thread instance, we can send the message to the worker as many as we want, right? So we can just keep sending messages from the parent using this. So yes. So let's actually try to do something amazing now using the knowledge which we have, what we have right now. Okay. So let's try to. Okay, hold on. Let's try to create two ports, right? And let's try to create two workers, right? And tell them to print the table of two in the same time, and let's see how do they print it, right? So we'll see how the two ports basically work together. A simple program will be writing, right? And we'll be giving a timeout, and let's see how does that work, right? So let's call it worker one, right? And let's call it worker two dot js, right? And yeah, so we have worker one and worker two, right? So for one, let's copy this like the same thing, right? So I have a very interesting use case for this, and that will be fun to watch, right? Let's copy this. Let's copy this to worker two as well. And let's say if the message, right? So the message could be, if the message is print table, right? If the message is equal to print, or like print table, right? So if it is table, right? So let's call it like set. So yeah. So const. Okay. So let set time or set interval. Let's call it like every 1 second. Uh, let's let's take a one, and let's increase the a. Okay, let's log a and increase the a every time once. Right? Let's see how the two ports will work together. That will be fun to watch. So if we have a message, right, it will be printing one two like that. And let's before one, let's name the worker name, because that will be more fun. So this is from the worker two, and we'll have the exact same program but from the worker, for the worker one, right? We'll have the exact same thing but from the worker one. And now what we can do is, in the index file, we can just create two workers, which is worker1.js and worker2.js, right? And let's call it nthread1 and nthread2, right? And let's actually send a table message to both of them. So like this one as well as this one, right? And like this is one, this is two, right? So this is not two, this is two, right? So we have sent both of them. Let's see how they work together, which will be a fun thing to watch, right? So yeah. uh, Worker one, worker two. I hope so this program is correct. Okay. Let's actually run it. Okay. We got worker. Oh, they are working together. They are working together. Okay. Okay. Worker one is 7. Oh, hold on. We'll have to see this output to make sense of this. Okay. So worker one, in the worker one we got 1, and then the worker two we got 1, right? And then in the one we got 2, and then the two we got 2, and that's like similarly, like yeah, like, but it cannot print two things at one time. That's something very very obvious, right? But these are happening simultaneously, like on two different threads, which is very cool, trust me. So we have made Node.js a multi-threaded application using workers, which is cool. Now would like to a little bit talk about the applications, like when to use this, right? So I think first thing, you should use workers. We have to create objects of all the ports to be accessible. You mean workers, right? No, 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 it's not the case. Workers could be, there could be many workers, and they could run parallel to the main thread. It is not like you have two cores. If you have four cores, right? So you could create only four workers. There could be more than four workers created. But just the thing is, they will be working in parallel. Okay. So, okay, I have a question. Wait, wait, wait. Still there is a confusion. How will I receive a message from the worker? Okay. Oh, then we can simply do on this, like worker, end thread on something like that, and we can just this makes sense. Okay. We are clear on this. Let's move ahead. Let's see what else do we got. Okay. So yeah. RL online. Oh wait, why am I why? Okay. So the single event makes sense. And then we have the process dot abort causes Node.js process to exit immediately, generating a generated a core file. The feature is not available in worker thread, so it only works in the main thread. So basically, immediately I think exits your application. What if I do this process dot abort? Uh, what does it take anything? Oh, what happens if I do that? Node. Oh my god, this throws a big error. And this basically abort is like a big thing, right? Abort is like I don't know anything, just shut up and get lost. Like that's abort. Abort is like it will not generate any useful error messages or anything like that. There's like stop it immediately. That's what abort is. Abort is like more harsh than exit. What is this? Allowed node environment flags. Oh, these are flags. Okay. Okay. This is cool. What do you mean by this? Allowed node environment flag. So uh, im- import from node process allowed node environment flags. Okay, then okay, this is a whole list. Okay, got it. So like all the okay, hold on, let's log it. Allowed. Well, this will be a long list of flags which we can pass with node, like the correct node. Yeah, that's exactly what we mean. So these are all the flags which you can pass while running a node application. You can basically verify that is the flag given is valid or not. That's what it's used for, I think. Okay, that's cool. Rest I cannot say. Then we have the this which is, oh, this gives you command line arguments, which is cool. Okay, let's try to do this one. So if we just say process, if we just take wait, hold on. If we just take node process, okay, and if we just say r dot for each val and index, right, and if we just log the val, or these are all the arguments which you pass along with your program. So like let's say while running the program, if I just say test1 or test2, all these will be logged. So see, test1, test2, and two default arguments is there, which is like the file from which you are running from and the node version, where is the node dependency, right? Those are the default arguments. So you can basically detect all the, all the argument from this. I can make a simple program for this. By the way, what is the type of this? Like that will be also interesting to look at. Like all these are string types. Yeah, all these are string types, which is cool. Okay, so let's say if you want to make an application which can check is the given number is an even or an odd, right? So you can just simply do this. So you can say like const number is equal to %. uh, of course would have to do a null check and stuff like that, but I think first two are this, and then you get so 0 1 2. You can go to 2, log this first. Let's see what do you get. So if we just say this, right, we get nan. What the hell? Why do we get nan? Uh, hmm. That's an array, right? And here is like 0th, 1th, and 2nd general. That should be test one. Why is that nan? Okay, that's test one. Oh, that makes sense because you are parsing it to nan. Okay, sorry. Yeah, this is correct. Okay. So what we can do is we can say if the num modulus to modulus n equal to 0, uh, that's even, otherwise it's odd. Right. Oh, sorry, it shouldn't be odd. Wait, if we just do node index, and like let's say if I pass 34, which is even, 12, which is even, let's pass an odd number, 35, which is odd. Yeah. So that's basically what I want to demonstrate is like how you can take uh, like arguments while executing a program from Node.js, which is like this argv. Cool. What is argv at 0? Oh, okay, cool. Let's log this as well. So if I just say argv 0, what do you mean by argv 0? Node. Okay, this is the original attribute. Okay, then this is ref, which we don't care about right now. And then what is chdir, which is like current working directory or something like that, right? I think so. Let's try out what is like chdir. Chdir dot, we get anything? What do you mean? Okay, chdir is that a function? How do you use that? Chdir starting time, use chdir. Okay, is it a function? Let's actually print the type of chdir. It's a function. It's a function. It's a function. Yeah, it's a function. Yeah. So let's actually execute it and let's see what do you get. We get an error. We get a beautiful error executing. Dictionary must be of type string. Okay. Dictionary item must be a type string. Oh, this is okay. Undefined. What do you mean? If I go to flash, what happens? We are again get undefined. What is this? Method changes the current. Oh, this changes the current. Okay, this actually this changes the current working directory to something else. Like this is change working directory, and then CWD is like the current working directory. I think if you do not pass this, it will basically say, oh, hold on, sorry. This will say, yeah, it changes the directory. Yes, CWD. Oh, wait. Yeah. So if you just do this, what CWD is not a function. Oh, I did not import it. Yeah, it changes the current working directory. So advanced node, which is the current working directory which I'm working with. Yeah, this both of them will make sense. Current working like change directory and current working directory. And this config is I think what this gives you the change current working. Okay, what change current working directory? Yeah, exactly. Yes, yes, that's what it means. Do you want me to use that again? Or let's actually try to use this. Let's try to see what does this do, right? So let's say if I just change the current working directory to something else, right? What can I change this to be? Like what was the current working directory previously? I don't remember. I don't remember a path. Okay. I can change this to like slash what temp or something like that. Hold on. Uh, for example, let's say if I want to keep this bonfire as like my current working directory, right? So I just where can I get the path of this? Uh, get info. Okay. Oh, I don't want to do this. Okay. If what if I just do like the temp, right? If I just do this, right, and execute this will be an error. CWD is not. Oh, I just yeah. So you can see this basically changes our working directory to TMP, which is the thing which we specified over here. Okay, so let's move forward. Then we have process.config. So we have a thing called config over here. Let's try to log this config and let's see what do we got. Oh my god, this gives you everything about target defaults and then variables. What is this? A ARM FPU, which is neon, and then the coverage is false. Enable. I think these are system variables, system core working variables. ICU small, then you have node built-in shareable built-ins, then you have false. Node enabled V8. Oh, these are all default like node node environment variables, like node internal environment variables. I don't think so in normal version we'll be using this, but this does have a lot of useful information, like the current Xcode version, which we like. Xcode is actually installed on my computer, so this is like Xcode version which we have, and I think this can even give you the V8 version, node version, all those. Like if your program doesn't work on certain node versions, you can just check it using this. I think this is cool. Yeah, yeah, cool. Okay. Do we have anything else? Oh, this is a long list. Process dot connected. What is process dot connected? Is not process spawned. See the child present cluster documentation. The process dot connected property will return true as long as the IPC channel is connected. Will return false after. Okay, disconnect. Oh, this is like basically like if there is a, I think, shouldn't it require SU access to? No, it just changes the working directory, I think. I don't. Okay, let's check this thing, right? This super user thing. Hey Shrey, what's up? How are you? Yeah. So let's actually verify this, right? So let's actually go to my home uh, directory with a computer, right? And let's say uh, I think CWD work over here, right? CWD. Tell me a project to add in resume. It depends on what kind of job do you want to, are you trying to apply for? Like, what's the job? Like, is it a software engineering job? Is it back-end database admin? What's the job you're applying for? Yeah. Okay. So what I was doing? I was actually verifying, yeah, does this actually require the super admin thing, right? There was a how to current work CWD, right? Okay. Command to know the current working. Oh, PWD, exactly. Okay, yeah. Let's see. PWD. Yes. Okay. So let's go to a private folder, right? Where let's say usually we are not allowed to. So like temp, right? If you just go to temp. Okay. Hmm. This is insane. How this could be allowed? Like this was correct, right? So if you just go back for a while, right? Now this is our current working directory. Let's say let's try to create a file over here. Let's see, are will we even a full stack developer? I'll just say hold on. Fs dot uh okay, we just change that, and like let's import the fs and let's try to create a file, because that indeed is a protected dictionary. Let's actually, without super access, let's try to create a dictionary over here. So what if, like, if we do like vim test.txt, right? And if I just say test this one, and if I try to save it, will I be allowed to do that? Yes. uh, yes, actually this is temp is allowed. Let's go to a protected file. We cannot create a file over there. Let's go to that kind of place. What is that? Like, let's go to system. Are we allowed to create a file here? Vim test dot text.txt test.txt test. Oh, we are not. So temp is somewhere we actually can create. So that's the reason, right? So let's try to do the system thing, right? Let's actually try to like this system now. Let's see what happens. Like, will it crash? Will it cry? What will happen if we just try to change our working directory to this? It doesn't, nothing happens. Oh, so I think yes, the answer is very simple. You can keep the working directory anything which you wish, but the thing is you cannot create or edit or do something over there. Working directory could be anything without super user. Yeah, so Shreya Jain, full stack developer. So for the full stack developer, I think what is important is, as a project, I would recommend you don't go very generic. Like, don't go like something like a social media website or something like that, because everybody has that, right? Everybody has that in your resume. uh, Create something interesting, create something unique. Like, what do I mean by unique? So if you know this, like, if you have heard about WebRTC, right? For example, so if you know about WebRTC, right, you can create something like this, something from this. WebRTC is basically again an event to event based peer to peer networking. Like your a single computer is connected to another computer directly, and the initial communication happens through a stun computer, like a stun server. So you can use something like this and create basically a chat application without without any, without a server, right? So you can have a peer-to-peer chat application, which would be a great thing. You could even create so for me, I created a whiteboard application using this. I have also created some video calling apps through like a WebRTC. That would be the first suggestion. Just create something unique, like something which actually shows your potential. That's all. If the question was answered. So one of them will be WebRTC could be one example. Other example could be you can create something using Shocket. Create something using what we have learned, like process managers. Like you can create a error handler in Node.js, like a centralized error handler system through which you can detect the error through like entire Node application and report it to maybe an S3 bucket or an or in text file or in whatever wherever the user wants. Just create something unique. That's it. That would work. Yeah. Okay. Now this is clear. Let's move ahead. Constraint memory experimental will be, oh, CPU usage. This is cool. Let's try to use CPU usage. Can we actually get the CPU usage from this? Uh, we have a CPU usage, right? And if we log this CPU usage, uh, do we need to? Oh, this is cool. So okay, we get two CPU usages. First is the user, and then we have the system. So I think system is like the currently like the current like total amount of CPU, like what is spin the CPU for 50 milliseconds. Uh, this gives you, okay. So this you can specify a time over here, like a duration of time, and then you can okay, yeah. Then you can basically then you can detect the amount of CPU used during that period. So yeah. So what we can do CPU usage, right? And then we can give a start time like what is done over here. So we can say now page dot now, right? Uh, so 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 you basically subtract now. What do you mean now? Okay, so you basically say date dot now, which is cool. Okay, and then this basically date dot now is now 500, which basically keeps it running for 500 milliseconds, right? So yeah, this, yeah, and then you can give a start time to this. Now what is the start time? Start usage, CPU usage, start usage, CPU usage. Okay, so this is the start usage. Okay, so you can just calculate a difference. So the initially it was like initially what was the CPU usage? Uh, like this was the initial use, right? And okay, and then you can go give this. Let's see. I think it will give you a span. Okay, yeah. So during this 500 millisecond, I think this much CPU was used, which is like 4,008, like 4,84,295. I think this gives you in bits. This gives you in bits. So that's the case. Uh, yeah. Hold on for a second. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, let's go on. Let's go to CWD, which will give you current working directory. I think self-explanatory. Debug port used by Node.js debugger when enabled. Okay. You can define a port in which the debugger works. If you know React, basically Node in the VS Code as well as like independently, you can trigger debugger, and this like defines the port in which we are in which that will run. What is DL open? Hold on. Oh, DL open. It primarily used by required to load C++ add-ons and should not be used directly except in special cases. Uh, Wait, hold on. Okay. So this DL open is basically used by the require function, and it is recommending not to be used in like uh, anything local. For example, below shows how to load C++ add-on named local.node that exports a foo function. All the symbols are loaded before call that is return rtld now constant. Is that example constant? Okay. Hmm. What is dot node file? What is local dot node? What is a dot node file? How to create a node or add-on? How to create a node add-on? Okay. Node add-on is basically you basically write a C++ or C code, right? And then you create a add-on that creates a .node file, right? And you can load that .node file using this dlopen command, which is over here, dlopen command. So that add-on will be loaded, and you will have like your own node thing in your node environment, which you can use, which is kind of cool. Okay, I think there's no use unless you yourself is like a node developer or something like that. Emit warning method can be used to emit custom or application specific warning. Let me actually edit the title. Let's call it process module, because that's what we did almost in this thing, right? Okay, this we already know this. Okay, emit warning, does what does that do? Okay, let's actually try this. By the way, all the process modules could be accessed directly, like process dot emit warning, and you can do like this is something like that, and this basically works the same. It's the same thing, right? So okay, so let's actually try to do this. This is cool. Node trace warning to show where the warning is happening. Okay, so you can emit warnings, something like this. Okay, and this is again the warning function which we just learned about for like hmm, these are environment variables. This is cool. Okay, this is cool. Let's actually try to log all the environment variables which we have, which is process.in, and we use this very often. Like this is the most commonly one of the most commonly used process functions, which is node.env. So if you know like if you know that that package, right, that package called .env, right? So if you know how, you can now guess at how that works basically internally. So .env, what it does is it reads your env file and puts all those env objects inside your this process.env object, like process.env object, and then you globally have that. So that's something how this works. Exec args, okay, exec code, and then you have log, which then you have timers, which is cool. Okay, so you can basically determine the time consumed. Okay, this is cool. This is cool. Okay, so we can determine the performance of a function, right? So you have something like get active resource info. This is cool. Okay, so this is experimental, but I'm excited towards this. I'll definitely try this. So what we'll do is we'll just say get active. Okay, get active. Oh, this is experimental, so this will not come over here. This is experimental. Okay, 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 this experimental, this will not come. Get EID method returns the numerical effective group identifier of node process. Okay. EID is basically, okay, get EID is like the current node process ID, I think. So if we just say process dot EID, what is that? Get EID. Okay. 20. What do you mean by 20? So this is like, okay, current EID is 20, which is, I think, group identifier. Okay. None of these is very exciting to me right now. Okay. Hmm. Which is, what is HRT time? This is interesting. Like I actually wanted some way to measure the performance. Let's actually do that. So what is HRT time is basically it's a legacy version of, this is the legacy version of HRT gets big int. What is this? I have to try this. I mean, what is HRT time dot begin? What, what I think this gives you the current nanosecond. Like yeah, that's what it is. Okay. Hmm. So this, you can use this for basically calculating some process. So you could like have like two of these, right? Store it in the starting thing, like let starting is equal to something like this, and you can say something like right. So you can just uh, subtract this, and then you will have it ending this, right? Which is this one. So you have to write equals to, and then you will write time elapsed, or like so uh, time taken, which is ending minus starting, whatever. I don't uh, dare it, whatever. Okay. So time token, not time taken, right? Time taken. Then whatever you write in the middle of this, basically, will we can measure a time for this. So if I just say y I is equal to, okay, let I is equal to 0, while I is less than what, there's something like this, a big number, right? And then you can say I plus plus, right? So we can actually run this, and we can see how much time does it took. Okay, this is the amount of time, which is what, 5 million nanoseconds. And how we can convert nanoseconds to seconds, nanoseconds to seconds in this. Hmm. Yes, it is measuring compilation time. That's true. And now I want to know how to convert this nanoseconds into milliseconds. Wait, there's no method. What do you mean? The amount can be converted to nanosecond unit by multiplying it by this number. But how to how to get micro time in Node.js? Time. Okay. That's cool. Okay, so that's the number. The conversion part is later part, which we can figure it out. This is skill, which will skill the current process. This is in the main module. Do we have anything interesting now? Okay, so this is the tick, which is kind of cool. Do not use bad unsafe hazard. What do you mean by this? Okay, maybe sync arg stat file cb. It is very important for the APIs to either be 100% synchronous or 100% asynchronous, consider this example. Okay, so this is both in between, something like that, which is weird. Okay, guys, I think that's pretty much enough. We have explored half of the process module. I think if we'll explore rest of it maybe later on. And what's the difference between kill and abort? Okay, kill basically, abort is like it is like okay, I'll just tell you. Okay, so uh, abort basically immediately ends the process, right? It immediately ends the process. For example, if I just take this process, right, and if I just go over here and write process dot abort, it immediately will stop without even capturing the reason why did it ended, right? So if I just run this program, you'll see that this will be basically will not even know what is the reason. You can see there's no valid reason why it existed or what was the cause. It just, there's a abort. So you immediately want to cancel this thing and you want to get ahead with your work. That is abort. And but if we just do like an exit, right? So we'll compare the exit and kill both, right? So exit is like when you want to tell a reason why this kill exit, like why this is exited. So for example, okay, exit you already know, I think, but now let's now discuss kill, right? So let's see what happens. Okay, right. So hold on. Kill did the same thing. That's true. That's true. That's very true. Wait. Uh, can I get this? Okay. So okay. See, I think here's the main difference. If you read this line, the method will throw an error of the PID. So PID is basically a process ID, right? So abort doesn't care if your process ID exists, it doesn't exist. It basically rushes to so here basically it will throw an error if your process ID doesn't exist. I think that's the core difference. The comparison of your of the PID. If you go to the second course, second case, which is abort, right? So if I just search for abort right now, where, right? I don't know where it is. Here's abort. It doesn't compare any PID comparison. Doesn't happen. See, where's the abort? Wait, man, abort is left. Where is abort? We just, oh, here is abort. See, exit immediately, right, and generates a core file, right? So it exit immediately without even comparing the PID, which is process ID, and the kill basically compares the PID, process ID, and if the process ID is not found in the CPU, it basically then it throws an error, which is not in the case of abort. Kind of the same thing, just the difference of PID. Okay. Constrained memory, CWD, we already know. We have already covered all these. So the target is basically, I'll just tell you the target. There will be a stream. I'll try to do it whenever I'm free, like 2 or 3 or 4 times in a week, right? And we'll be discussing all of the Node.js libraries one by one. So today we went through the process library. One day we'll be going with the HTTP library, then one day with the file system library, and so on. So we'll try to cover all the node, advanced node in this particular thing. Like I'll be learning, but we'll be learning together. Right? That's the thing. So okay, where were we? We were okay. I got lost. Where were we last time? What were we learning? Next tick, yeah. Here we see. Next tick. So kill generally refers to specific or sending a signal. No, sending a signal is like exit. Exit, you can send 0 or 1 there. So 0 means like there was no error. You exited it like intentionally. But 1 is like there was some error. So exit is when you want to send a signal. Then abort is like when you don't care, you just want to exit it, you don't care whether the process exists on the CPU or not. And ultimately the last, which is the kill, basically checks whether the PID exists on the CPU. If it does exist, it kills it. If it does not exist, it throws an error. That's the core difference between all of those three. Okay. Okay, additional argument to be when passed. Next tick and adds a callback to the next tick queue. The queue is fully drained after the current operation on the JavaScript is completed. See the event look guide info. Man, event loop is really cool, right? So we'll be definitely covering event loop, full event loop. So now I'll just go for like a little bit on what is event loop and how does it work. A little bit, not very deep, because this is like this would take another like 4 or 5, like not 4 or 5, at least 2 3 hours basically to understand like full event loop. But event loop, like I'll just this is the event loop is by the way, the event is actually loop is actually the way through which Node.js could be asynchronous. So I'll tell you how does this work is basically Node has a queue of tasks to perform, right? So all the synchronous tasks are in queues, and let's say if there is a task which is asynchronous, right, which needs some processing to happen before that could be completed. So it keeps it aside, right, and goes on through its work, and then when it's done, it brings it back, something like that. So that's a rough estimation, like a rough idea of how you do. I'll just show you a diagram, right? Node.js event loop diagram. Right? This will make more sense now. You can see this. This this is how it works. So basically, there is two things, right? There's okay, hold on. This this picture basically shows you like a rough idea of how event loop works, basically. So it is the event loop, right? You have a series of tasks which is being performed, and let's say if you get a task which will take some time, right? Or so it basically keeps it in the thread pool, right? So which could be a database, which could be a file system thing, which could be a network thing, other thing, right? And then when this is done, this comes back into the event queue, and this gets executed. So that's how Node.js is even able to do asynchronous tasks even being single threaded, which is an insane capability. I'm telling you, this gives Node.js an insane edge over other languages, because working on single thread and that too performing like insanely good, like saves a lot of memory, and overall like you gain a performance, right? uh yeah, I think, yeah, that's it. If we do not have any other questions, we'll be ending the stream. And yeah, so just thank you for joining in, and bye bye. Have a great day. Good night. See you later on. Bye. So if you have any specific thing, just you can send me somehow. You can comment down, or you can send me on my mail, or you can send me on my Instagram. My Instagram handle will be there. Okay. So blue light filter sex. Yeah. Cool. Okay, sure. Thanks for watching the stream. Thank you. Bye bye. Have a great day.